Let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Go ahead and bring the lights down just a little bit for this one. Today, we're stepping right into the dark as we break down a fascinating, incredibly atmospheric 3D cartoon horror script. We're going to look at the exact mechanics of fear. In this explainer, we aren't just recounting a spooky story. We're literally dissecting the anatomy of suspense. We'll look at exactly how a few lines of text and some super clever visual cues can completely short-circuit our sense of safety. If you've ever felt that chill down your spine when you're all alone in the house, well, you're absolutely going to appreciate the brilliant structure of this short tale.
So I want you to really put yourself in this scenario. It's midnight. The house is completely silent. You're settled in, feeling totally secure in your own personal sanctuary. And then, tap, 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 a knock on the glass. What's your immediate reaction? Do you freeze? Do you go investigate? Do you hide? This simple, incredibly visceral question is just the perfect hook. It immediately bypasses our logical brains and taps straight into our primal instincts. We're no longer passive observers here. We are right there in that dark room.
All right, setting the stage with Scene 1, Raat ke 12 baje, or exactly 12 o'clock at night, midnight, the classic witching hour. We're introduced to our protagonist, Aman, a small 3D cartoon boy sitting entirely alone in his room. You see, the creators purposefully chose a young, isolated character to absolutely maximize that feeling of vulnerability. When we see someone small and alone in the dark, our empathy just kicks in immediately, right? We inherently understand the huge disadvantage he's at, which instantly raises the stakes before a single scary thing has even happened.
To really grasp how this script masterfully builds tension, we've got to look at the environmental design. The source text gives us these very specific visual cues. Airman is alone, sure, but look at the world outside his room. Strong winds are blowing. The window curtains are actually moving. As an audience, our eyes are naturally drawn to movement, especially in a totally static environment. Those moving curtains, they act as a psychological anchor. They're telling our brains that the barrier between the safe, quiet inside and the chaotic, unseen outside is incredibly fragile. It sets this perfect baseline of unease.
Okay, let's dive into this turning point. Right at the stroke of midnight, the inciting incident hits. The text from the script reads, Raat ke 12 baje, Aman ko khidki par dastak sunai di, which translates to, at 12 a.m., Aman heard a knock on the window. This is the exact moment the atmospheric tension snaps into an active threat. I mean, a knock implies intent. It's not just the wind anymore. It's a presence requesting entry. And because it's happening on a window, a fragile piece of glass, at midnight, it violates all the unwritten rules of safety.
Now think about the pacing of a really great campfire ghost story. The script doesn't have Aman just rush over to the window. No. First, he slowly approaches. Second, he pulls back the curtain. The hesitation is agonizing, and it's totally meant to be. We are holding our breath right alongside him. And then, the big reveal, he sees no one outside. The anticipation builds to this massive crescendo, only to give us a hollow, empty drop. But as any fan of suspense knows, finding nothing, that is often so much worse than finding something, because it means the threat is still completely unknown.
This right here is a classic, beautifully executed horror trope, the misdirection. A man is completely fixated on the external environment, that empty window. All his attention, and all of ours honestly, is pointed outward. But then the script just pulls the rug right out from under us with a sudden alert. His phone buzzes with an incoming message. The threat isn't out there in the wind. The source of terror has actually bypassed the physical boundaries of the house and manifested right there in his hand, inside his safe space.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer, chilling isolation of the message. Aman looks at his phone, and it simply says, Khidki mat kholna, do not open the window. Think about the implications of that for a second. Who sent it? How do they know what he's doing at this exact second? It implies that Aman is being watched in real time. It takes that empty window, which was already scary a moment ago, and turns it into a deadly trap. The message is a warning, sure, but it offers absolutely no comfort. It literally only amplifies the dread.
So we transition now into Scene 3, Kamre mein kaun hai, which aptly translates to, who is in the room? I want you to think about why an unknown warning just paralyzes us. It's because it forces our brains into overdrive, trying to calculate a threat we can't even see. The whole question shifts. We aren't wondering what's outside in the storm anymore. The terrifying realization begins to dawn on us that the call, so to speak, is coming from inside the house. Here's the crucial point in how the script handles the evolution of fear. A man turns around.
He firmly believed the danger was outside, right? Separated by glass and brick. But the terrifying reality is that a mysterious cartoon shadow is standing right behind him. This taps into the most primal terror human beings possess, the predator in our blind spot, the monster breathing right on the back of our neck. The visual of a dark, featureless shadow in a 3D animated space creates this stark, horrifying contrast. It is the absolute embodiment of the unknown invading his sanctuary.
The script cements this absolute peak of tension with a brilliantly simple line of text. Lekin wo akela nahi tha. But he was not alone. It validates every single fear Aman and, honestly, the viewer has been feeling for the past few minutes. The isolation of the first scene, completely and violently shattered. This line acts as a narrative slamming door. There is no going back to the safety of being alone. The monster is here, and it's sharing his space.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how insanely fast things can spiral out of control. This entire, escalating nightmare unfolds in a matter of mere minutes. 12 a.m., the initial knock. By 12:01, the agonizing realization of the empty window. 12:02, the digital intrusion of the text message. And by 12:03, the physical manifestation of the shadow. The pacing is relentless. It gives neither Armin nor us any time to process or recover before hitting us with the next level of terror. It's just an inescapable funnel of suspense.
As we hit the climax, the script uses the environment against us one last time. The room's light starts blinking, throwing the shadow into this jagged, terrifying relief. And then, the screen slowly fades to pitch black. Taking away the visual sense is the ultimate loss of control. In an animated medium, fading to black leaves the audience completely stranded in their own imaginations. And let's be honest, our brains are going to conjure up something far scarier than anything that could actually be drawn on a screen.
Just when you think the scene is totally over, engulfed in total darkness, the script delivers its final masterful blow. Pir khirki par dobara dastakhui. Then there was another knock on the window. This is the absolute genius of cyclical horror. We are right back where we started, but the context is completely changed and escalated. It's an impossible scenario that completely breaks the rules of logic, trapping Aman in a loop of pure nightmare.
Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought. With the power out, the room pitch black, and a terrifying shadow entity already standing right behind Aman, who or what is knocking on the window now? Is it a rescuer? Is it a second threat? Or is it something far, far worse? By ending on an unanswerable question, this script ensures that its sense of dread is going to stay with you long after our explainer wraps up today. Thanks for joining me in the dark, and remember, if you hear a tap on the glass tonight, maybe just leave the curtains closed.